It seems every time a serious sex offender completes their jail time and is released back into the community, there's an outcry. To address the public's fears, the state government set aside $14 million to introduce satellite tracking. 7:30 Queensland can reveal the first 3 offenders were fitted with GPS devices today. Kieran McKechnie spoke earlier to the Police Minister Neil Roberts, who's sporting a black eye after a skin cancer procedure.
Minister, thanks for your time. So tell me, how do these GPS devices work?
Well, the GPS devices are very similar to the radio frequency devices which are used currently. 2 methods. They can be fitted to the wrist or to the ankle. The technology will be chosen according to the particular offender and their needs.
So what happens if the sex offender is found to be in the wrong place? I assume they're being monitored round the clock.
One of the key messages about GPS monitoring is it's not a panacea. It's not foolproof. It only works with the strong support of surveillance staff in the field. So whereas we will have staff monitoring these offenders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there'll be a central monitoring unit to do that, there will, in addition to that, be surveillance staff working in the field. So where an offender breaches their order in terms of their curfew or moves into an area which has been defined as an exclusion zone, an alarm will sound and one of the surveillance officers will be able to follow that through.
You say it's not a panacea, so what are the device's shortcomings?
Well, they tell you where an offender is, not what they're doing. And again, this is why it's really important to have both the devices themselves and a very rigid and strong protocol about surveillance in the field, and that's always been a very strong element of the Queensland Corrective Services oversight and monitoring of these offenders.
3 offenders have been tagged today. Who are they and why have those 3 been selected?
Well, I can't name those offenders, but currently there are 67 offenders in Queensland with supervision orders which allow electronic monitoring. So 3 have been fitted today. By Tuesday, Melbourne Cup Day, there will be 5 initially fitted, and that's when the system will go live. Between now and Christmas, we will have another 26 fitted, and then the remaining 40 or thereabouts will be fitted up until the end of February. So we've just started to progressively implement the technology to make sure all of the systems and protocols are bedded down. But from Tuesday of next week, the system goes live and all 67 offenders will be progressively fitted with the devices.
There have been calls for satellite tracking for years. Why now?
This has been a technology which has been evolving over time. A little over 4 years ago, the government provided funding to Queensland Corrective Services to implement radio frequency monitoring, and that basically enabled monitoring of curfews. So an individual may have a curfew to be in their home from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m, for example, and the electronic monitoring gave a tool to Queensland Corrective Services to monitor compliance. We've been evaluating GPS monitoring throughout that time. There's only one other state that has fully implemented fully implemented GPS monitoring. So we wanted to make sure that the technology was right for our needs. And as I've indicated on many occasions that I've been asked these questions, we've never ruled out the use of GPS technology, and we felt the time was right now with the evolving improvement of the technology to invest in it and make use of it.
GPS relies on line of sight to satellites. Does that mean there could be a problem with them working inside?
It will work in most locations, and that's why I've indicated this is not a silver bullet. It's not foolproof. That's why in any monitoring system, whether it be radio frequency or GPS, it must be supported by very strong surveillance in the field, and that's what the Queensland system will be based on. It's certainly a useful tool. It will provide good information about the movement of offenders and where they are, but it does require ongoing surveillance because, as I've said, it tells you where an offender is, not what they're doing.
Minister, thanks for speaking to 7:30 Queensland.
Good, thank you.